Okay, we're gonna draw the mouth, the big open smile. So to do that, there's a lot of measuring and proportions that needs to happen first. So what I look at is the length of the mouth in comparison to the height. And I usually try to draw the interior open space first. So the bottom line of the upper lip and the upper line of the lower lip. So if I take that width, or the height, I'm sorry, that's 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more across. So if I start third. I'm checking the angles of the lines with my pencil before I place them down. So I want to find that shape first, and then I can start working in the upper line of the upper lip, which when you're smiling, your lips are being stretched and pulled across the contours of your teeth and your gums. That kind of convex cylinder form that they create, so you're losing some thickness, especially in the lower lip. You're losing that really peaked apex of the upper lip. And you comparatively want to measure, the thickness of the upper lip to the lower lip. And in this case, the upper lip is thicker. So I'm going to bring this up just a little bit more to thicken that. And again, you want to start with contour lines, so it looks very outliney to begin. And then we want to start to contour out the teeth. So to contour out the teeth, you want to start by drawing these triangular shapes above the teeth, so the gum line. And first we have to find placement. Her head is slightly turned, so just slightly. So the center of her front two teeth are about here. We kind of want to know where that line is to get you started. And then we're going to look at the gum line, and the negative space between each tooth. And the shape of it. The shape is important. And the negative space between the lip and the teeth. Considering the size of the teeth, they get smaller as they wrap back farther into the mouth. And then this area here is this kind of fleshy cheek part that we see. Okay, after you have that upper line, then you want to do the lower line. I'm going to measure the height and width of the tooth to make sure we're not making something too long. Give ourselves a little guideline. We're going to come up a little bit higher. And you want these triangle peaks to match up, right? So if one gum, the upper gum line is peeking downward here, the space beneath the teeth is peeking up directly under it. That's where we're gonna get the impression of the edge of the tooth. And we want just an impression of the edge of the tooth, because if you draw lines around each tooth, like so, your teeth will look like they have gaps in between them, and they feel very unrealistic. So we want to avoid drawing lines around each tooth, and that's kind of like your first gut reaction on how to draw teeth, but then we end up feeling like we drew them incorrectly. So that's why we start with the bottom and top contours versus drawing the lines around them. Then for the bottom teeth, same thing, but you want to start looking at where the points or tops of each tooth line up with the teeth above it, and the negative space in between. Like she's got, we can see some of the tongue here. So I'm doing some comparative measurements and looking at where those little triangle shapes meet. And it's easy to lose track here because you've got a lot of teeth and a lot of shapes going on. Like, where was I? There's that, there's that. Okay, keep going to about there. Okay. And this one lines up right about there. Okay, and then if we could see any gum line, we just see a teeny bit here on the bottom of these teeth, then you'd place those little triangles in there. Okay, but they mostly are just shadows. So I'm going to erase some of my guidelines. Make a couple tweaks. Okay, so that's how you draw the contours of a mouth that has an open